Hey, what's up guys, Chris here. In this video, we're gonna do some quick and dirty testing with controllers. I'm gonna explore one of the reasons why it's so hard to aim on controller, and a lot of people saying, maybe you just aren't good with your controller, or maybe it's your controller. No, there's actually a very specific reason in First Soldier why controllers are so hard to use, and this is one of the reasons why I've started to say First Soldier does have controller support, it does not have controller implementation, and the producer of the game even said as much when he said the first thing we worked on was basically mapping controller inputs. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that they've worked on. So we're gonna explore that in this video. If you guys like the video, like, subscribe, and let's jump into this. Okay, so what I've done here is I'm actually in training here just to get a test of the joystick here. And what you see is I actually have an overlay on here. This is just overlaying a Safari window. This is gamepadtester.com. What you can do is actually just move your joystick around and it'll show you how off center your axis is on your joystick. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I can't get these windows to run simultaneously. There might be a better way to do this. So what we have to do is we're gonna go back into the game, and basically I'm gonna be moving my joystick around basically until we get just a little bit of movement, and then we'll flip over to that gamepad tester. I'm gonna hold the joystick there and we'll see roughly about where those numbers are at, and we're gonna see what the issue is here in game in First Soldier. So if you guys aren't aware of what dead zone is, it's actually the amount that you can move your joystick before that joystick actually registers an input. So basically if the dead zone is like 20%, for example, which is a pretty standard dead zone, that means I can move the joystick on the controller over like this 20%. And basically it won't register anything under 20% in game. And the reason dead zone is on certain games or on controller settings is because if your thumbstick is not exactly perfect, you don't want your aim to drift off. So as you can see, I can move my joystick around. You can see already how choppy it is anyway, how laggy and choppy this is. But basically if I move my joystick over, I'm gonna move it over to the right here until I get just a little bit of movement. So we're gonna move this over to the right, just until we just start moving that camera. Okay, there it is. Now if I move over to my gamepad tester, you can see where the axis is at. It's roughly 25% on the axis there. So now we're gonna test the vertical axis. Go back over to the game, axis, not access. So now if I test the vertical, we're just going to do the same thing, pulling down on the joystick until we get a little bit of movement. That's a little too much. There it is. We go back over to our axis tester. You can see it's roughly 22, 20. I was right about 25 when I was getting that movement also. So what we're looking at here is the dead zone for joysticks on the controllers looks to be right somewhere between 20 and 25%, maybe even more, probably right at 25%. Now I'm gonna test that left joystick, which is your movement stick. This isn't nearly as critical as your aiming stick, but we'll do the same thing until we get just a little bit of movement. There it is. Go over and you can see I'm at 27, 28% roughly before I get any movement. So it looks like that dead zone right now is set to 25% on controllers. 25%. The default for a lot of FPS games is actually somewhere between like 7 and 10%. Some people will go up to like 12% if you have like pretty bad stick drift or something like that. So that's one of the issues why aiming feels so choppy on controller, is that default dead zone looks to be right at about 25% on controllers. So if I go over here back to my axis, it's right about there. It's 25%. That makes aiming super hard. So you can't do like fine adjustments no matter how low you set your sensitivity. Even if your sensitivity is set to a super low number, you have to get past that 25% threshold before it's going to move your cursor at all. This is absolutely unheard of for a first-person game. So this is one of the reasons why I said in the intro, First Soldier has controller support, but I would not say per se it has controller implementation. The next thing I want to do is we want to check our diagonals. So I'm going to go back into our game and I'm going to go till I get some diagonal movement, because it feels like maybe the radial calculation is a little bit off. So I'm moving up and to the right until I get some movement. Go up and right, up and right. Okay, we're just, there we go. I'm at 25% there too. So looks like our diagonal is about 25% as well. So that's probably right about right. All right, just to make sure that this isn't only on Xbox controllers, I've actually pulled out my PlayStation 4 DualShock controller. We're gonna do the same test and we'll see if we're getting the same dead zone results. So basically we're going to move the joystick over until we just get a little bit of movement. This one's a little harder to do. Joysticks are real short on the DualShocks. There it is. Go over to our... So yeah, you can see we're right about 27%. I'm guessing it's right there at 25%. So yeah, it doesn't really matter what controller you're using, or at least between the Xbox and PlayStation controllers, I'm getting roughly the same dead zone there. So as you guys can see, we have a 25% dead zone on controllers. This is one of the primary reasons why aiming is so difficult. I don't know about you guys, when I've played other games like Call of Duty Warzone or other first-person shooter games where I'm able to edit that dead zone myself, I usually set it somewhere between like 7%, maybe 10% if I have a controller that's giving me some stick drift. They said they're working on controller support and adding some additional features, so maybe adjusting that dead zone is one of the things that they're working on to help controller players with aiming. So anyway, that's pretty much an explanation why it's so hard to make those small adjustments while you're trying to aim, especially with scoped weapons using a controller in First Soldier. And I'm certainly not making the argument that touchscreen controls aren't hard to aim on as well. This is just completely addressing the issues with controller on First Soldier. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you all stopping in, and we will catch you next time.